Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the finest Dawn of War Soulstorm casts this side of East Yorkshire. And today we've got a 1 vs 1 on Battle Marshes. Playing on the side as the Space Marines, we've got Duzzyminister. Playing on the other side as the Orks, we've got Bloodman. Bloodman will be opening with a couple of Slugger Boys, a Grot Squad, Generator and a Boys Hut. Whereas Duzzyminister is going to go for a Servitor, a couple of Scouts and a Chapel Barracks for his opening. To some of you boys and girls who watch other Dawn of War channels, you might be familiar with the name Duzzyminister. He has just recently finished a mammoth task of covering basically every single game from the Dawn of War Soulstorm Burger Cup that happened a little while ago. I think it was, what was it? It's like a total of 71 games, about 12 hours worth of recording time. So yeah, definitely quite the gargantuan effort from this chap over on the northern side. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check that out. Very, very good, technically competent caster, able to give you loads of facts and details about strategies and unit thingamajiggies. Not like me, I've got no idea what's going on. I'm just here for the spectacle, baby. I'm here to see Orks smash some Yumis, and some Yumis potentially do some smashing to the Orks as well. Also quite like how we've got red on the top, blue on the bottom as well. Very aesthetically pleasing for my old eyes that can barely see anything. But yeah, let's talk about the map. The map is quite decent for both the Orks and the Space Marines. Sometimes you will see a Space Marine player go for some Assault Marines in the early game, purely because bashing this listing post and this one as well is quite useful for, you know, you can just jump over and do all sorts of mischief. And the Orks might be a little bit of a disadvantage because they can't get their jumping squads until they get a couple of war banners down. But then again, they do have a big mech that can teleport after them. So a little bit of counterplay for them. Being a bit aggressive with the Space Marines over on the right-hand side, although they've come over, realised that listing post has already been finished, and will decide against it. I mean, all Orc structures, they've got a little grot on top shooting, even on their tier 1 structures. And well, actually, to be honest, on just every single structure with the exception of the Generator. Can't imagine you could really fit a grot on top of this without causing much in the way of structural damage. So yeah, so attacking Orks with just one single squad of Space Marines, maybe not the wisest thing, so that's why he's pulled back. Sometimes he'll bring the Force Commander over and tank the damage that way. But no, he's just going to keep it nice and easy. Seeing some Slugger Boys being isolated over here, a listing post being popped straight on top of it to prevent the Scouts from decapping it, which is very nice stuff. Relics are always a massive pain to lose, as it takes absolutely ages to recapture. Orks are a bit confused, like, oh, we're stuck. We can't fight through them, there's too many of them. We can't run through them because we'll then be cowards. We'll be judged by everyone. Grots will come on over. Don't think they're going to get any stabbers in. Just decide to focus on the structure instead. Over on the left side, we are seeing the Force Commander try and slap away the Big Mech. Big Mech has thrown around the Scout willy-nilly and just been chased after as he's been supported by some tactical Marines. I've got some Shooter Boys, and once they get their big shooters, the Space Marines will struggle quite something against them. Space Marines, when they get their heavy bolters in tier 2 and whatnot, will be able to then stand quite firm against them. Listing post, question mark, have you been finished? No, there's no grot in the chair. And that's how you know that a Orc listing post has been finished. So we'll be able to break that down quite quickly. In fact, they're going to cancel that structure, regaining some of their money. They've at least delayed this relic for the Space Marines. But no one's gone for this one over yonder. I think the Orcs were trying to double down on this one and maybe keep this one safe for themselves rather than trying to capture this one. No point in stressing yourself out too much by capturing both of them, although that might be the idea. If you can't take on the Space Marine position, you may as well go for the undefended places, but oh no, that's what the Slugger Boys are doing. They're just on the capping mission. They capture the critical location, now they're going to go for the relic. That makes sense. Going to hide in the heavy cover for themselves, although being tied up by that Force Commander, very nice stuff, will prevent them from taking on the Space Marines. And straight at 1v1, the Shooter Boys will always lose. With that heavy cover bonus of 50% range reduction damage, you can quite handily take them on. Second War Banner. Yep. Is that the second one? Yes, it is. I can count 1 and 2. I'm good at maths, mate.
The Emperor protects.
And so far, so good for the Space Marines. Well, the Slugger Boys are still capturing the relic over on this side. Current economy is 74 and 10 compared to 80 and 10, so quite even all the way through. Force Commander taking a little bit of a beating, but now that Tactical Marines have finished decapping this critical location, there is still a flag on them, but that's a lie. Just ignore the flag. No one's captured that point yet. And a second squad of Shooter Boys even, sorry. One in the heavy cover. Really would like to see these Space Marines now focus on these guys, as they'll be easier targets. Space Marine's now got no other option but to run straight through a whole bunch of fire. All Slugger Boys now ready to get down and dirty with a bit of close combat. And that is an unfortunate situation, losing a model or two in that engagement. Still potential to lose more. Space Marines from the right side have now came over onto this side. Listing post has been upgraded as well. So Space Marines should be able to hold this in theory, he says with some degrees of confidence. Gonna make use of that. Is that light cover? That is light cover. But any cover is good cover in this stage of the game. Slugger Boys have been taken down. And Shooter Boys now getting their big shooters online. But I think they should really pull back and get these big shooters first and foremost before engaging in a massive engagement like this. Space Marines have now got their health upgrade, as you can tell by the shiny skull on their shoulder pads. So yeah, a bit of a misplay from the Orks there. You had all the models, you had both squads of Shooter Boys maximally reinforced with models. If you just waited for those big shooters to come out, that would have been probably a win or at least a stalemate there. Boss Commander has also now got his plasma pistol, which will help him do some excellent damage, especially if he can get some shots off on the big mech there. And now the Orks are going to have to lick their wounds, so to speak. Over here, the scouts have captured the relic on the right side. Would love to see a listing post being placed on there. But that being said, when engaging with lots of engagements on the far-flung sides of the map, quite hard to keep your micro up. Or macro. Is it macros when you're doing your economy, isn't it? I remember. I know how RTSs work. I've got Storm Boys, and that is a wonderful idea. Jump them in the middle of these two squads. Shooter Boys can then fire at them willy-nilly now that they've got their big shooters online. And all that good stuff. Although having to reinforce their models will set the Orks back in tech, as they've acquired their blue money to get more war banners. Still on only 2 war banners at the moment, though. So they're just hunkering down for some tier 1 shenanigans. Currently not seeing that many listing posts. Well, I suppose we're seeing the outer ones upgraded for defensive reasons. Critical location being captured once again. Not going to go for the second one, but that does give you an extra little bit of blue money to work with. Got some scouts standing around here. Could do with these guys coming over, at least just providing a little bit of extra firepower. I mean, hell's bells, maybe even some sniper rifle fire just to break the morale of the Shooter Boys. Even with a big mech in their ranks. Although, actually, no, I take that back. Now that there's so many Orks in one place, they're immune to morale damage, he says. As you can see, it just constantly keeps on going back up, no matter how much damage they really take. So Space Marines have decided, right, well, you've got the big shooters, we can't take you on as we don't have the weaponry required. We are getting into tier 2 now, a little bit behind the Orks. Oh, no, not behind the Orks. The Orks are not in tier 2. Ignore me again. In fact, just don't listen to anything I say in the cast. That's how this video is going so far. But yeah, so rather than engaging the Orks in an engagement that they know that they can't win, they're just going to fall back. They're going to let them have the listing post, wait for that tier 2 to pop, and then I assume going to go for heavy bolters. That would be the thinking man's response. He's upgrading his Marines with frag grenades. So that will do a good decent bit of AoE damage as well as knock them on the back sides, which will allow the Marines to position themselves in a good state. I do quite like this. He's going to sacrifice Plasma Generator. He's also going to go for a squad of Assault Marines as well. So rather than wasting the lives of his men, which, you know, be quite expensive to replace them all, and this is going to wait for the absolutely correct and best possible time to engage before committing to a fight here. By the time the Shooter Boys get the Chapel Barracks down, the Assault Marines will form, but they don't know about the Storm Boys. The Storm Boys are coming over to start bashing listing post on the top side. Both Tactical Marines brought over to sort out those Shooter Boys. Some Marines attempt to jump over, but they've all been dead now. That is a most unfortunate situation. But now the Sergeant's coming out. Heavy bolters on auto build as well. Space Marines just need to hold out a little while longer. Servitors repairing that Chapel Barracks to make it last a little bit longer. And more Bionics upgrades just to further bolster their ranks. There we go, they've now got one heavy bolter on the scene. Still going to hold back a little bit. They've got time to kill. They've also gone for a machine cult as well. Where are you going to go from there? Going to go for, okay, a Rhino. Why a Rhino? I assume something like a land speeder would be the way forward here, as they've got no anti-vehicle capacities. Storm Boys charging on in. using their Go Faster ability. Well, they've been knocked around by a few bits and bobs. And jumping inside the... Oh, right, no, that makes sense. Jump inside the Rhino, keeps away from the Storm Boys, allows them to go around the sides while taking very little damage. Now, once they come out, all the heavy bolters will be able to fire at the same time. One of these guys engaging close combat as well as the other squad then focus fires on the one that's been tied up. Very nice stuff. Breaks them down very quickly. Orks without the maneuverability as well will also have to teleport back, losing the vast majority of their army. Also Storm Boys as well. One tries to jump away. Does he survive? Does manage to. So calm, reasonable, proportioned response from Duzzyminister. Does hold off, and he is now in Tier 2. Orks have just managed to get to Tier 2 themselves. They've got plenty of money to rebuild and repurpose their armies. Current economy is 122 and 30 compared to 98 and 30. Obviously, Space Marines need to recapture this listing post to get some economic parity. That won't take them too long. They've also got plenty of money to get stuff on the go. Another plasma generator being popped down. And, well, yeah, I mean, do they need to rebuild their chapel barracks? Not necessarily. They'll see a lot of really high-skilled players. They'll go for 2 squads of tacticals and upgrade them out the wazoo. So you don't really need to build anything else. Maybe you'll see some Grey Knights later on for their smite ability. But I don't think you'd see that much against the Orks. As, I mean, why not? If you've got these Space Marines that can kill all the Orks. So a bit of redundancy, really. Might see a chaplain come out, reversing a vehicle cap increase instead. Force Commander in one with his plasma pistol and his thunder hammer to beat people up in close combat. Chaplain for the health regen. Listing post on the left side for the relic will be smited. Do you still have the scouts knocking around? Yes, you do, for capping purposes. Always nice to see. So that way the Space Marines don't have to worry about hanging around for anything. They can remain on the offensive. And just chilling out for a little bit as the Orks have now regained their shooter boy squads. Tank Buster infiltration research on the go to take out that Rhino. Be really careful in this situation to not be overconfident as a Space Marine player. If you lose your Rhino, the big mech can then teleport around the back of you if you're out of position and just basically shoot you all down with all these lads. War Truck also for repositioning purposes. And you've gone for... Oh no, right, you've gone for a Servitor in your ranks. Right, so you're expecting to see some Tank Busters in there. And so obviously now that you've got a Skull Probe in there, you'll be able to spot them and then kill them. That's good forward thinking. Also got the enhanced target finders for more range damage. Dreadnought, just a regular Dreadnought. Upgrade with a assault cannon, which is interesting. I would assume it would be the Hellfire Dreadnought, just for that missile launcher in case the Orks have gone for any kind of vehicular plate, which they have, but a very small amount of vehicles for them. Just everyone regaining their composure after that engagement. Storm Boys go on the right-hand side for building bashing purposes, I imagine. Have you got your upgrade for the Claw? Yes, you do, sir. Bashing buildings will be very useful for you. Orks now going to engage Space Marines in the heavy cover. Not a wise idea. We'll have to fall back. Thankfully, no missile launchers can take down that War Truck very quickly. Only a couple of volleys from a Tactical Marine squad of 4 missile launchers will take down a War Truck, so good thing that didn't happen. Stormers, go on. Punch some things. Oh, right, I see what you're doing. You're also going for the Tank Busters. So rather than trying to bash the Rhino, which, actually, I don't know, I think maybe, you know, having the Tank Busters over here, knowing that the Space Marines are going to come and knock on your door anytime soon, but maybe you're going to go, oh no, you're going to go for a Knob Squad. Okay, alright, fair enough. Well, I mean, they've got only heavy bolters, and Knobs are quite decent at not dying to heavy bolters. You really need, whatchamacallums, the plasma guns to take them down. A good zap on that Dreadnought stops them from doing anything useful. Big mech also, probably not a wise idea to get him involved in close combat. He is nearly the size of a Dreadnought, but he won't win that engagement at all. Space Marines now hiding inside the Rhino, trying to avoid being clubbed to death by the Knobs. Does also look like the Storm Boys are coming back on over. Where are the Tank Busters? Tank Busters, you're just milling around over on that side. Got the Landspeeder Tempest in the air, breaks down that war track. Storm boys and knobs now making sure those heavy bolters can't be used. The shooter boys have been brought down to very low health. Big Mech still just narrowly surviving. And the war track on the other side, throwing missiles wherever it can. Knobs have got their morale broken. I was expecting to see the Big Mech join the knobs and see them teleport around the backside to tie up all the tactical marines. That's the standard protocol in this situation. Rather than the Big Mech just duking it out with a dreadnought. Yeah, those tank busters are sorely missed. I mean, are you killing it anytime soon? I mean, you will kill it gradually over time, but then one servitor comes over. And I think that one servitor does out DPS those rockets, or at least long enough to make him, not worth the engagement. If those tank busters were down here, that dreadnought would be dead by now. That Rhino transport would have been dead by now, and the Land Speeder Tempest would have also been killed relatively quickly. Unless, of course, Space Marines were going to focus fire them. But the knobs were there, so the knobs, will stop that from happening. But they've got the war tracks now. And while an unclean engagement, they have managed to defend themselves, and oh dear, what's going on? Alright, well, my game decided to minimise for no reason. Maybe that's the FBI agents trying to look at the, I don't know what, no, what do you call them? The icons on your desktop. I completely forget what they're called. Shortcuts. Well, don't you worry, boys and girls. I've got no organisation for the shortcuts on my homepage. It's just wherever it fits, it sits. And half of them don't even work anymore. I just like it being, I just like a busy-looking homepage, Makes me feel like I'm being useful. We have got more dreadnoughts coming out. And see what I mean? Like, tank busters now are just throwing stuff at the machine cult, not really doing all that much. We now do have triple Land Speeder Tempests moseying on over, all with their crack missiles. And the Orks on this side won't be able to defend, although the war tracks can come over and shoot them down. They are, I do believe, they've got a lot more health than the Land Speeder Tempest, so you should be able to crack them open. Just about to get another one, but not quite. Could have really done with a third one, in all honesty, or at least this war track to be repaired. Tank busters now falling back for defensive purposes. Look, quite like that. While the mass of the Orc army is busy on the left-hand side, give them the old sucker punch on the flanks with Land Speeder Tempest, and look at that. Some good old-fashioned repairing. Love to see it. My favourite thing. I know I hark on with it quite a lot, but you don't understand how much it upsets me when I see people with low health vehicles. Like, you could just repair them. Do it. Recycling, man. Save the planet. Or something. Got tank buster, but the, oh dear, the pathing. The pathing is what's doing the Orcs in now. I mean, if they start attacking over here, they've now got the firepower with the war tracks to be able to break down the machine cult. But while that's going on, the Land Speeder Tempest going in for a flanking maneuver. But against all these missiles, probably not the wisest thing. So, I mean, yeah, you've got the firepower. Why not just come down and break things up? Do a little bit of a base trade. You can always send the Marines in the Rhino over to support, since the Orcs are focusing on this listing post on the Relic. Pretty nice stuff. Current economy is 94 and 39 compared to 1 at 42 and 79. So, Duzzyminister firmly in the economic front seat, I guess. Listing post over here has been taken down, as well as the one behind the trees. So it's taking quite the economic beating. And good lord, Duzzyminister, you've got the money, you've got the power. Buy some stuff, although I suppose, really, you've got all you need. You've now got Space Marines with missile launchers. So one for the infantry, one for the machines. And while they are defending, these guys are just breaking down everything. The Orcs are not responding. They're just thinking, right, we've got to fight, we've got to scrap. We're going to go capture relics and beat things up. Got one war track over here to defend with. More are now coming back on home. But, you've lost quite a few things. And potentially lose a third listing post would just be massive pain in the backside. And was that trade worth it? I don't think so. You've yet to take down this one singular listing post. And a dreadnought just striding on over. Look at the speed on that bad boy. Not going to get any weapons whatsoever. He's coming in to high-five these Orks in the face. Space Marines come out for a little bit of fresh air before sallying on forth down south. With only 2 war tracks and a couple of tank busters knocking around somewhere. And these guys will just pop on over and come out and then destroy the war tracks. While this one dreadnought just fends off all this nonsense. As far as base trades go, quite an efficient side of things for the Space Marines. War trucks have been kaputzed. I was attempting to see a war truck. Oh, if the Orks had a war truck, they could just come on over and start defending this side of things. Now that the Space Marines have only got 1 squad with heavy bolters in there, the shooter boys with their big shooters should be able to fend this off. But, no, too little too late. War truck is now coming over, but no one's going to jump inside. Big mech teleporting around the backside. A little bit premature, I think. We're getting stuff in. We've also got an orbital bombardment as well, which is quite wonderful to see. Love a few booms and bangs. Space Marines are going to focus down on 1 squad at a time, throwing a couple of frag grenades in there as well, while these shooter boys focus on the heavy bolter boys. Managed to bring them down to only 1 heavy bolter though, so that might actually work in their favour. Big Mech, are you still alive, Big Mech? No, you're not. Everyone's dead on that side. Yeah, the health on the Tactical Marines in the later stages of the game, quite difficult to take on, unless, of course, you've got a lot of firepower incoming. Managed to kill a fair few of them, but I mean, if you've got more money than blooming King Charles II or the 3rd or whatever number the King is on at the moment, who cares? Just throw meat at the wall and see what sticks. They're not now found. They're going to go for a assault cannon. Which, I mean, why? You're in close combat. Keep both your hands, man. Also got the Predator. Moving on forward. Orks have been knocked way back down the tech tree. With only 1 war banner online. And I think, boys and girls, that is all she wrote. So nice aggression from the Orks in the early game. Against a less patient player, that engagement over on this side would have probably won them the game. If the Space Marines came down and then died, well, they wouldn't have had anything to defend themselves with, so the Orks could just roll over the face of everything. But no, Duzzyminister, a patient man, gradually over time just doing bits and bobs and winning. So there we go. So like I say, check out Duzzyminister's YouTube channel in the description below. And thanks for coming. I'm Slandshark. Pleasure as always, never short. I will see you in a bit. Peace.